What's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video. I'm gonna do just a quick video on this topic. Mairis Briedis is desperately trying to fight Jake Paul, and he went as far as getting a tattoo of Jake Paul. I don't know if the tattoo is real or not, but he's doing like a little press run because he's doing a few interviews on this. Like, he's really going hard, and this isn't the first time. All right, he did it again recently, like earlier last year, maybe like in the summertime when the first Woodley fight. All right, he was really pushing hard to try to get a Jake Paul fight, and it's so random because, you know, Briedis, I really don't know him, you know, outside of the fights and his boxing, his pro career. Him being the champion at cruiserweight and being the World Boxing Super Series tournament winner. I look at him as being one of the most technically sound boxers out there. You know, maybe not a top 10 pound for pound, but maybe a top 20 pound for pound fighter. Definitely a top 20 pound for pound fighter. Very technically sound, right? Hardcore fans love him. You know, not everyone knows him. He's not famous here. No one knows him in America, but the hardcores know who he is. You know, shout out to Punch Perfect Boxing. I was doing some video catch-ups, and I was listening to his video on this, and he said it best. You know, as far as boxing purists love this guy. And he's really pushing hard for this Jake Paul fight, and I get it. People want to get the money, want to get the fame. But he's doing some really goofy stuff. Like, it's really goofy, and not enough people are talking about it. And, you know, if it was someone like it, if it was an American fighter doing it, people will be all over it, you know, because they expect that from American fighters to be clown, or even some of the British fighters, the well-known ones. If they were doing what he's doing right now, I think more people, there'll be more chatter about it. But because he's an Eastern European fighter, that is usually low-key. He's usually pretty low-key, right? And he's a very technically sound fighter. Like I said, not a lot of people know him. He's not popular. He's kind of getting a pass by people just ignoring it, you know? And I don't think, like, nah, you're acting like a clown, and we want to address it because this is not something we would expect from you. And you have real fighters that's in your division, right? We know what you've done, right? We know what you've done in your career. You've done some great things. You've knocked out heavyweights, all right? You took Usyk to war. You gave Usyk, to this day, even with Joshua Chisora and all of these other fighters, that Michael Hunter, all these other fighters, that for Usyk, you gave him the toughest challenge. You was the first person I ever heard say, like, I think Briedis got robbed against Usyk. You know, because at that time when that fight happened, that was an actual debate after the fight. That fight was that close, you know, where I felt like you won the first half of the fight. You won a half of a fight against Usyk, in my opinion. Now, overall, I think Usyk won the fight, but it was close. I scored it 7-5. It was a close fight. It was a very good fight. So people respect you. I'm a fan. I wasn't always a fan, but I'm a fan. And you have Lawrence Okolie, who's been calling you out, and he's been very consistent with that. He's calling you out. He wants to fight you. And listen, Okolie has stepped his game up dramatically within the last couple years. You know, I know, or the last few years at least. You know, I know there was a time where, you know, he was a lot less experienced, and, you know, some of his fights were sleepers. I know. And we're going to keep it G. Like, we're going to keep it all the way 100 when it comes to it, because I like Okolie, but there was a period where people felt he was boring. But he's not that anymore. He stepped up his game like many other fighters. The more fights you get, he's looking better with each fight. He's dangerous. He's very dangerous, you know? And I think he can possibly beat Briedis at this point, you know? So with that being said, he's calling him out, and all I see is Briedis calling out Jake Paul, you know? But when Floyd Mayweather fought Logan Paul, a retired fighter, And Floyd Mayweather, older in his 40s, is making fights with Logan Paul. People go crazy. Briedis, even though he's not as popular, there are boxing purists that are very familiar with Briedis, and they will not even bring this topic up. You know, people say what they want about Jake Paul. Jake Paul can do whatever he wants to do. But Jake Paul is a businessman, and he's been consistently fighting MMA fighters. So for an active boxer, a champion, you know, one of the better technically sound fighters, for him to go this hard to try to get a fight with Jake Paul while you're active, where Jake Paul has not once fought a real boxer. And then on the meantime, you have other top fighters, other champions that's trying to unify with you, yet you're pushing a Jake Paul fight. And you're getting tattoos. What are you doing? What's going on here? I've never seen him to be this type of guy. You know, if this was like, what's his name? Billy Joe Saunders or some guy like that that's just constantly just always in the media for something ridiculous, I would expect that. You know, I would expect that more from a Tyson Fury type of dude. Not Briedis, you know? Anyway, what's going on with Lawrence Okolie? Like, let's get that fight. That's a great fight. You know, that's a great fight. If Okolie is not good enough, then he will lose the fight. You know, it's a very risky fight for both, but it's a very good fight. You know? And I want to see it. I don't want to see a Jake Paul fight, and it's not even a realistic fight. Jake Paul doesn't even know who you are. Jake Paul only just tried to fight a boxer purely off his name, Fury. He tried to make a fight with a boxer based on his name. He has a Fury name. He's not that experienced. So it's a winnable fight. Whether you think Fury would have won or Paul would have won, it was a winnable fight for him because Tommy Fury, I'm talking about Tommy Fury, lacks the experience. So it was a winnable fight for your first boxing attempt, a real boxing attempt against another boxer. Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Nate Robinson, YouTubers, those are not it. Why would you go from those guys to straight Briedis? If he were to go straight to Briedis or Canelo, I could see him going straight to a Canelo because Canelo is known worldwide. He is a cash cow. You're going to make money based on Canelo's name and Jake Paul's name. Jake Paul is not going to make anything off of Briedis. It's only a come up for a Briedis. Plus, Jake Paul would have no shot in winning that fight. There's no shot. It's a lose-lose situation. So why is Briedis doing so much for an unrealistic fight when you got a real, young, hungry, undefeated champion that wants you right now? What's going on? I see it as a duck, a clear duck, and hopefully we get the fight eventually. You know, hopefully, you know, I know Hearn has been talking, make some moves to try to make that fight. But this Jake Paul stuff is unrealistic. It will never happen. The tattoo is ridiculous. Shame on you for even getting that and thinking that was going to be cool or that was going to help you try to get the fight to happen. It's just, it's sad. It's a clown show. We have to be honest here. We respect the fighter based on his skills, but he's acting like a clown right now. And somebody needs to say it. It's ridiculous. We should not give him a pass for that stuff, especially with YouTubers. When we talk about these YouTubers and how they're cancerous for boxing, why are real boxers trying active boxers, not retired, washed up boxers that have nowhere else to go? I'm talking about active boxers that are currently holding titles. Why are they pushing for that fight? Why are they pushing it when they have work to do? So anyway, I don't like it. I made a video on it because I feel like we need to bring more awareness of this ducking. When there's ducking going on and it's pretty blatant like this, when there's Lawrence Okolie, champion, you might not like him. It doesn't matter if you don't like him. He's a champion and he wants to unify. And he's been consistently calling this guy out. And he's not even acknowledging him. Anyway, I'm done with the video anyway. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.